22 minutes after the hour, America, it's Hugh. Hewitt, a second ISIL-affiliated propaganda site, claimed responsibility for yesterday's massacre. I'm joined from Florida by United States Senator Marco Rubio. Senator Rubio, welcome. My sympathy for your state and for the victims of the shooting. Any doubt in your mind that this is at least ISIS-inspired?
I have no doubt, and I think it's important for us to start. We have to end this distinguishing between ISIS-directed and ISIS-inspired. It doesn't matter. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, and one of the things ISIS has figured out is, we don't need to bring people all the way to Syria and train them here. We have the ability, using social media and the Internet, to inspire people and direct them to take action. And the way they do it is they basically put out and telling people, look, if you want to get involved in fighting on behalf of the Islamic State, you don't have to come to Libya, you don't have to come to Syria, you don't have to come to Iraq. All you have to do is conduct an attack, and they list a menu of options. Then to get in your truck and run over a bunch of people at a park, build a bomb, here's the instructions. Go to a sporting event or a soccer game and shoot people up. I mean, they put this stuff out there as suggested ways to attack. So this is part of their direction. They are directing people to do it, whether they met them or not. And in the end, it doesn't matter. 50 people are dead. And it doesn't matter.
There's a report this morning in Fox News that Marcus Dwayne Robertson is a radical imam in the Orlando area, and he is tied to the killer. Have you read that report? Do you credit it?
Well, I think we have to be very careful when we're saying the names of people because we need to be able to prove it. The bottom line, we know he's been a member of a mosque for a significant period of time in Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie area. I think that's what the FBI is going to look at over the next couple of days on his phone. They'll look at his computer. They'll look at any links around him and see who is it that was radicalizing him or who he was coordinating with, because some birds of a feather flock together. There might be others related that might be having similar ideas in Florida. So we'll learn more in the next few days, and I'm confident the authorities will find who they are and go from there. But, in America, radical speech is not a crime. I mean, that's one of the challenges we face. You can stand all day long and call for all kinds of jihad. It's only when you actually move towards plotting and acting on it that you become actionable and arrestable, and these guys know that, and they use it against us.
Yesterday, the president did not use the term radical Islam, neither did Secretary of State Clinton, former Secretary of State Clinton. Ought they to be using that term, Senator Rubio?
They are. They should. They really should. And, I don't want to politicize this because it's a terrible tragedy. And one of the great things that we saw in response to this was the unity in the community in Orlando. Everybody put aside political differences. But it's important, and it's not a slight on non-radical Muslims. There was a couple of members of the Muslim community there yesterday at the site condemning it. There are patriotic Americans that happen to be Muslims, and we're not talking about they're in many ways victimized by this as well because it's their faith that's been hijacked by these radical lunatics. But we have to use that term. We cannot ignore the fact that what's motivating these people is not a political ideology. It is a religious, spiritual, warped ideology that calls on them to kill the infidel, which in their mind is anyone who doesn't agree with them on everything. The infidel includes Sunnis that won't live by their rules, and of course Christians and gays and lesbians and women and women who drive. I mean, we're dealing with an ideology motivated by an interpretation of a faith. We can't ignore it.
Does this horror change in any way your resolve not to seek re-election, Senator?
I haven't even given it thought in that perspective other than to say that I've been deeply impacted by it, and I think when it visits your home state, when it impacts the community, it really gives you pause to think a little bit about, your service to your country and where you can be most useful to your country. We live at a very dramatic moment in our history. I think we're at a key tipping point here moving into the next election. Irrespective of who the next president is, I think we're going to face some real foreign policy challenges given some of the things both of the candidates have outlined. So, obviously I haven't thought about it from a political perspective, but it most certainly has impacted my thinking in general about a lot of things.
Now that I ask, will you at least consider it again?
Well, obviously I have a couple things in play. It's not part of our plan as a family, and certainly wasn't part of our, I have a friend of mine who's running for the U.S. Senate, so I want to be fair, Hugh. I haven't thought about it in that context. I really don't want to link the two things right now because I don't want politics to intrude in all of this. But
I understand that there are people who know this issue. You are one of them. And
yeah. Well, as I said, my family and I will be praying about all this, and we'll see what I need to do next with my life in regards to how I can best serve.
Senator Rubio, I appreciate that. I hope it leads you to stay in the United States Senate. Very few people know this issue as you do, and I hope your service expands. Don't go anywhere, America. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.